My dad was a flying officer and a pilot. He went into the Air Force as ground crew because he didn't have his high school diploma. So he studied and got his high school, and then he remustered into air crew, and he ended up a flying instructor. And wonderful stories about those days in the Air Force. Stories of the war were circulated only among the people that were involved. It was that time when airmen who had just come out of the services, they didn't glorify their time there. It was after my father's death that I found out that he went in as ground crew, remustered, became a pilot, and he became a flying instructor and would take people up training. And he would look down when he had a student in the plane, and he'd look down at one of the stations like Defoe and whatnot that he was at, and he'd see me in my baby buggy, and he would do things that would drive my mother crazy, like loop-de-loops and such, to entertain the baby and just drive my mother crazy. When my father came out of the Air Force as a flying instructor, and he had done a tour over in England as well before the end of the war, but he was a flying instructor at many of the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan stations in Canada, and then he was sent over to England as a fighter pilot. When he came back to Canada, there were grants to get further education. And he went to Art Center School in Los Angeles and trained as an illustrator. In his senior year, his instructor was Norman Rockwell. And my dad came back to Calgary and was a commercial artist. And many of the logos of companies still in existence were designed by my father. He was a commercial artist, and he did a lot of Western Horseman covers and calendars, and that's commercial art. After he had a number of heart attacks, we were able to buy Eagleview, which is the name of the summer cottage where Don and I live now, but my parents were able to buy that as a summer cottage at Ypres.